Welcome to our presentation on inclusive education and refugee students. My name is Emma.
And my name is Maria.
And we will be beginning. The worldwide rise in numbers of refugees and asylum seekers suggests the need to examine the practices of those institutions charged with their resettlement in host countries. Taylor and Sadu, 2012. So this is examining the role of inclusive education in the settlement of refugee students in their home countries. Today we're going to be addressing three main questions. Who are refugees and how are they viewed in society? What are the unique educational needs of refugees? And how can policy and leadership support these needs? First, we're going to look at the difference between voluntary and involuntary immigration. Voluntary immigration is available to those with access to capital and resources, such as those in desirable professions and international students. Involuntary immigration is those who have been displaced from their home country due to wars, typically associated with identity struggles based on race, ethnicity, class, and religion, as well as competition for resources. Those internally displaced must seek asylum elsewhere. The sociocultural views of refugees in society can put refugees at unique disadvantages. Asylum seekers and refugees are not considered to be a desirable part of the ethnoscape, and punitive government policies have been put in place to discourage people from seeking asylum in countries such as Australia. Marginalized based upon markers of race and ethnicity, language, gender, and socioeconomic status, and being viewed as part of a heterogeneous immigrant group along with voluntary immigrants, despite very different lived experiences, can also play an impact on refugees' settlement.
The holistic model and complexity of needs has been looked at by both Taylor and Sadu, and they note what EDER identifies as three important elements of good practice, and those are creating a welcoming environment, meeting psychosocial needs, and especially when trauma has been experienced, and lastly, meeting the linguistic needs of newcomers. Taylor and Sadu include Arnaud and Pinson's holistic model as one that includes the importance of support systems to meet complex needs of refugee students. And those people include parents, community links, and good practice schools where practicing inclusion and celebrating diversity are a must. The holistic model also includes a dual concept of multicultural education, as Amthor and Roxas have noted, and that would include advances in genuinely culturally relevant curriculum and one that facilitates cultural agency for newcomer youth. Culturally relevant pedagogy is also incredibly important for newcomer students, going beyond superficial culturally relevant curriculum and teachers having the need to be genuinely interested in their students. There needs to be a balance between being warm and caring and setting of high standards and expectations. We cannot sacrifice students' potential to the misguided sense of care, and there's a strong correlation for building strong relationships, academic achievement, and adaptation. Experiencing true relationships can help newcomer youth see their true potential. Amthor and Roxas suggest more research on possible models of encouraging relationship building across differences and understanding what newcomer youth define as meaningful recognition and relationships in the context of school. Amthor and Roxas have quoted, "Being the pedagogue is more important than prescriptively doing the pedagogy." Policy and funding, education and beyond. Targeted policies are crucial to address the educational disadvantages of refugee young people. Policies require budget support from both federal and provincial agencies, and partnerships with other support agencies are also important. However, policies do not always equal social inclusion. Case study in Australia on funding refugee students through the State Health Department because the child's experienced pre-displacement condition of trauma. This is an effective evidence-based policy regimes to create conditions for refugees to be categorized as medicalized students or subjects. Leadership is equally as important in developing refugee students. Advocacy is a critical dimension of creating a culture of inclusion. Taylor and Sidhu have identified a connection between leadership and advocacy. Leadership is needed in both the system and school levels, and principals acting as advocates for refugee schools in their schools, for students in their schools is important. Principals need to support teachers, and teachers need the support of principals. Taylor and Sidhu found a holistic whole school approach to inclusion was common in all 4 of the schools in the Australian case studies, 2012.
Our school is enriched and challenged by having refugee students here. And if these people have been resourceful enough to survive what they have, we have so much to learn from them. Taylor and Sidhu, 2012. As our presentation comes to a close, we have 2 questions to pose to you for response this week. Our first question is, how can targeted policy and support from government, such as funding, support inclusive education environments for refugee students? In your opinion, what is needed beyond policy and funding to shape inclusive environments? The second question focuses on Amthor and Roxas, who said, being the pedagogue is more important than prescriptively doing the pedagogy. How can we as educators become the pedagogue while we're maintaining a caring and empathetic relationship with newcomer students? Thank you for watching, and we hope you enjoy this week's readings.